Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the Warzone video on the channel. Today we're looking at some of the best settings you guys can use right now for your response curve, guys. I've actually tried out every single response curve in Warzone, and personally these are what I think pretty much about all of them. This is probably gonna help you guys out a lot when it comes to your aim and overall just the way the game feels for you, because I'm like, trust me, these are actually kind of a big deal. Before we actually get to that, I'm just going to quickly give you guys a brief explanation of exactly what response curve is, pretty much how it's going to help you guys improve your gameplay in the game. So for those of you that actually don't know where aim response curve type is, this is in your controller settings and options, and pretty much all response curve type is it's how the game responds to your controller when you put an input to it. So obviously if you have standard, then it's just going to be your standard aim stick to aim rate. But when you have things like linear or dynamic, the game is doing smaller things to actually adjust the mapping for your control. So that might actually make no sense right there, but I'm just to make it like super easy to understand. Just imagine that the game is just doing something to your controller, something to the input of the game to make it to where your aim rate is just different. So all of these do have a different feel when it comes to your aim rate, and pretty much I will just go ahead and tell you guys right now that dynamic for me is just the #1 aim response curve type. I know a lot of people that play on linear, and I know a lot of people that play on standard, and that's perfectly fine if you guys do find those comfortable. But personally for me, I think dynamic is actually the best aim response curve type. Now listen guys, I know a lot of people are going to be like, no, linear is better or no, standard's better. I'm not at all saying that those are worse or those aren't as good, but personally for me, I find dynamic really fun, and I feel like it's actually one of the most easiest to control when it comes to good centering and when it comes to overall good reaction time. A lot of people like to use linear because it has a raw input, which is good as well. It helps helps with reaction time, but it doesn't really it doesn't really support you that much if you are a person that's very fidgety, or if you have a lot of controller stick drift. I would definitely say that linear is kind of harder to play on for those of you that do have controller stick drift. I feel like dynamic does a better job of controlling that with your aim. But guys, like I said, it's all personal preference on the aim response curve type. Now what I've noticed from standard when I actually was playing on standard is that standard usually doesn't really feel too different from dynamic most of the time, unless I'm trying to flick. I wouldn't literally not know the difference between dynamic and standard unless I'm actually like ADS and a sniper, or even on a AR or SMG and I'm trying to flick to somebody else. That's when I'll actually feel the huge difference between standard and dynamic. But if you guys don't if you guys aren't trying to like flick as hard, or if you guys aren't trying to be as accurate like that and that way, then you guys probably could just roll with standard, because standard it's the normal Call of Duty response curve type, so it's probably going to feel the most familiar for those of you that play multiple Call of Duties. I know a lot of the Black Ops versions or the Black Ops series does not actually have a response curve type, so you're not going to actually be able to customize it, and it is going to be the standard one. You guys are bouncing around from different Call of Duties, and it's probably best if you guys stay on standard. But if you guys are really trying to improve and try something different on there, then I definitely recommend trying out either linear or dynamic. Now guys, linear, I'm going to go ahead and just tell you guys this real quick. I did mention this before, but linear is pretty much just raw input. Okay, I don't know if a lot of you guys actually played Apex, but Apex also had a linear aim response curve type as well, and pretty much it's like very sensitive. It's like exactly sensitive to your controller. So pretty much like however much input you put into your joystick, it's going to do that in the game. It's not going to do anything to make it easier. It's not going to do anything to make it a finer aim rate. It's just going to completely go off what input you're putting in the controller, which is a pro and a con, guys. The good thing about it is that obviously you are in 100% control of your aim rate. If you want to put a very little bit of input, it's going to be all dependent on your controller. But obviously guys, there is a con too, because you guys cannot learn how to control it. If it's too much for you, then obviously you can start overshooting your enemies, and you can like just be completely missing your shots. So linear is good. It's great for reaction time as well. It has the fastest reaction time out of dynamic and standard, but I wouldn't recommend it if you guys are trying to get some really good aim. And last but not least guys, dynamic for me is just the best one. It has reverse S-curve mapping for fine rate or fine aim rate control. A lot of people don't know what that actually means. Personally, I don't really know what it means either, but I do know what it actually does in the game, and pretty much it just makes it like much smoothly to center. Honestly, for me, I feel like the flicks are better, the centering is better, and honestly I feel like just overall everything with the right joystick feels a little bit more smoother and in control. Linear and standard do feel really good too, and I'm sure you can do the same things that dynamic players do on those aim response curve types, but obviously do have to keep in mind that you actually have to get used to it, and I'm the most used to dynamic at this point. I did try linear a few videos back, but I was having fun with it, and it was really good, don't get me wrong. but obviously I'm super used to dynamic, so it's just not going to feel the same way dynamic feels. And honestly, personally for me, I just couldn't change. I could not change from, you know, dynamic to any other response curve type. This is the best one for me. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much that for my response curve type, guys. If you guys are trying some new response curve type settings, then I definitely recommend you guys try out dynamic. It's one of the best ones, if not the best setting you guys can use for this. Yeah, guys, if you guys did enjoy today's video, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and post notifications so you guys don't miss any more videos on the channel. And let me know if there's any other settings you guys want to give me, you know, give a breakdown for. I would love to help you guys out with a ton of different settings you guys do need help, or if you guys just want to learn, you know, want to understand exactly what each setting does, that way you guys can implement it in the best way, then let me know in the comment section below. Yeah, guys, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace, love, and understanding always. I will see you guys in the next one.